In my previous life, my husband concealed his family history of ALS and refused to undergo a premarital health checkup. After marriage, he began showing symptoms and eventually became bedridden. When our son reached adulthood, he also developed the disease. I spent the better part of my life tirelessly caring for both of them. It wasn't until my 60th birthday that I accidentally overheard my husband on the phone with Lee Man. Man, I've known about my illness since I was young. I didn't marry you because I couldn't bear to see you suffer. My son also spoke up. Mommy Man, when are you coming over? I miss you so much. In the midst of despair and collapse, I was reborn. Watching Lee Man try every trick in the book to marry Jong Fan, I cleared out for them overnight, reborn back in high school. I went to claim my family right away. My biological father is the chairman of Shun Peng Group. In my previous life, when I was nearly 60. My 8-year-old father finally came looking for me. He told me that I had been switched at birth by the nurse who delivered me. During his 6-year-old child's school entrance physical examination, he discovered that the blood types did not match. It was only after further examinations that he learned the child he had been raising was not his biological offspring. For over 50 years, he had been tirelessly searching for my whereabouts, and my biological mother, deeply distressed by the matter, had long since passed away. The process of reuniting went very smoothly, especially since my biological father had been searching for me for more than a decade by now. I arrived at the headquarters of Shun Peng Group and explained the situation to the receptionist. The receptionist immediately arranged for someone to take me for a paternity test. After all, this had been going on for over a decade, and they were already very familiar with the process, from the testing to receiving the report. And then meeting my biological parents, the entire process took less than an hour. Unlike the faltering steps of his previous life, the father before me was tall and robust. My mother held me carefully, her makeup smeared from crying. I gently patted my mother's back. Mom, Dad, I need to go back to school. My parents had thought it would take some effort for me to acknowledge them. Never expecting that I would accept everything so calmly, they happily sent me back to school. As I passed by the school restroom, I happened to run into my ex-husband, Jong Fan. The surrounding classmates all burst into laughter. Zhuku is here to check up again. Jong Fan just went to the restroom. No need to follow him so closely. Right, I glanced at them and said, I'm not following him. Not only the surrounding classmates, but even Jong Fan didn't believe it. Alright, Zhuku, last time at the beach, Lee Man really couldn't find anyone to help, so I applied sunscreen for her. It's normal for classmates to help each other out. Why do you have to make a big deal out of it? When he mentioned it, I remembered. There really was such an incident in my past life. So you helped apply sunscreen all over her body, including her private parts, Jong Fan said with a righteous expression. For sunscreen to be effective, it naturally needs to be applied all over the body. Lee Man ran over from somewhere and accidentally stepped on my foot. Keek, I'm sorry. It was me who asked Brother Fan to help apply the sunscreen. You know, my skin is quite delicate and gets really painful when exposed to the sun. I really couldn't find anyone else to help, so I asked Brother Fan to apply sunscreen for me. If you're going to blame anyone, blame me. It's not Brother Fan's fault. As she spoke, her tears began to fall. Jong Fan felt heartbroken and quickly wiped her tears, but Lee Man's tears kept flowing, and in the end, she ran out in distress. Jong Fan shot me a glare and hurriedly chased after her. It's all your fault. Such a trivial matter is not worth making a fuss over. 2. The class bell rang, but the two of them returned to the classroom late. Looking at Jong Fan, his clothes were in disarray. As for Lee Man, although her clothes were relatively neat, there were faint, mottled traces of an unknown white liquid on her school uniform pants. The classmates, seeing this scene, started to make a commotion. Their eyes sparkled with the excitement of watching a drama, and they all turned to look at me. After all, everyone knows I pursued Jong Fan for a full 3 years, and it was only a few days ago that I finally became his girlfriend. But who would have thought that now he's involved in an ambiguous relationship with another girl? The drama everyone was eagerly anticipating did not unfold as expected. I kept my head down the entire time, focused on the questions in front of me. Not even bothering to give them a single glance. Jong Fan, seeing my complete lack of reaction, darkened his expression and returned to his seat with a sullen face. As soon as the school bell rang, I headed straight for the playground. Today was the school sports day, and I had signed up for the shot put competition. Jong Fan didn't like the smell of sweat on me. In my past life, I hardly ever exercised, and over time, my health deteriorated, even though I wasn't in good health at the time. I still did my utmost to take care of him while he was bedridden. I naively believed that in matters of love, as long as I gave enough, I would inevitably receive equivalent returns. I was too foolish. From beginning to end, the only one I moved was myself. In this lifetime, I am determined to rediscover my past passions. Then, let's start with participating in the school sports meet. Jong Fan bought water for all the athletes at the base camp and even specially got Lee Man a cup of milk tea. Lee Man pretended to be annoyed and said, "Brother Fan, you know I'm trying to lose weight, yet you still bought me milk tea. How mean of you." The number of water bottles and milk teas bought seemed carefully counted. What a coincidence, they ran out just before it was my turn. At this, I simply opened my thermos calmly and took a few sips. It didn't matter anymore. Having lived to such an old age in my previous life, I had long lost interest in milk tea and iced water. Even during scorching summers, I had grown accustomed to carrying a thermos with me. Lee Man seemed to notice me only now and feigned surprise as she said, "Keek, why aren't you drinking what Brother Fan bought? Are you still angry?" Jong Fan immediately snapped at me impatiently, "Juku, haven't you had enough? You've been sulking since yesterday. Who are you trying to show that face to?" I slightly raised my head and looked at him in surprise. "You've been watching me all this time." Upon hearing this, Jong Fan jumped anxiously and shouted loudly, "Who's observing you? I don't like you at all. It's you who insisted on clinging to me shamelessly." Although I had already anticipated the outcome, hearing these words from him firsthand still felt like a heavy blow to my heart. Sending a sharp pang of pain through me, I took a slow, deep breath, trying hard to suppress the surging ache in my chest, and said in as calm a voice as possible, "Fine, let's break up." Lee Man's eyes instantly flickered with a glimmer of light upon hearing this. A flicker of panic crossed Jong Fan's face, followed by an angry shout. "Who gave you the right to decide when we're together and when we break up?" Before I could say another word, Jong Fan stormed off angrily. 3. I truly didn't want to keep arguing with him. I'd find the right moment to make everything crystal clear once and for all. At this moment, all I could think about was focusing on the competition before me. Although I've hardly exercised these past few years, the foundation I built before high school still lingers somewhat. To my surprise, I placed third in the shot put event, though it was only third place, for someone who hadn't exercised in so long. It was undoubtedly tremendous affirmation and encouragement. Returning with the honor of winning the award, many classmates looked at me with newfound admiration and respect. However, Jong Fan strode towards me with a frown, his face full of displeasure, and without a word, shoved a cup of milk tea directly into my arms. "It's just a cup of milk tea. Is this really worth breaking up with me over? Next time, don't you dare say such nonsense in front of Lee Man again." She was so upset she almost cried. With that said, he turned and hurried away without looking back. Back in my dorm, my phone screen suddenly lit up. It turned out to be Lee Man sending me a message, along with an audio clip. The message was brief and straightforward. "Juku, in this lifetime, I will never hand Jong Fan over to you." Seeing this message, I suddenly understood everything. No wonder Juku has been acting like a completely different person lately. She must have been reborn too. But she also knew about Jong Fan's family history of ALS in our previous life. Lee Man was reborn but still rushed to marry Jong Fan. Either she truly loves Jong Fan, or although she was reborn, she only has memories of Jong Fan before his illness. But whichever it is, her desire for Jong Fan is exactly what I've been hoping for. I casually clicked on the audio and immediately knew what it was. The audio began with a series of blushing-inducing smacking sounds, faintly mixed with some ambiguous wet noises. Soon after, came the rapid, alternating panting of a man and a woman. The woman's voice grew increasingly loud and intense, accompanied by the man's unrestrained heavy breathing. After a moment, their intermittent conversation gradually reached my ears. "Baby, You're amazing, I love you the most. Then why, earlier, wouldn't you break up with Juku? I was just fooling around with her, but with you, I'm serious. All that followed were screams and slapping sounds. I casually forwarded the audio to the class group chat and tagged Lee Man. The class group chat exploded instantly. Lee Man, you don't need to send me such things anymore. Jong Fan and I have already broken up. High school life was already dull. But the moment the audio was sent to the class group chat, it exploded, slightly stiffened. To show respect, oh my god, that voice, that acting. I'm begging you to go pro, pausing my phone, bros. I'll be right back. Jong Fan kept sending me private messages, urging me to quickly retract the message. When I didn't respond, he started frantically calling me. I simply turned off my phone and started working on math problems. I thought for sure the two of them would come to confront me the next day. But Jong Fan acted like it was no big deal. On the contrary, Lee Man's eyes were red and swollen, clearly from crying for a long time. As for the other classmates, though they didn't say anything, their suppressed smiles clearly showed they were secretly amused, just waiting to see the drama unfold. Of course, there were also those troublemakers who deliberately went up to Lee Man. Teacher Lee Man, just how amazing is Fanji? Look, he's made your eyes all swollen from crying. Lee Man's face turned bright red in an instant. She burst into tears, turned her head, and ran out of the classroom, disappearing for the entire afternoon. This was just as well. I finally had some peace and quiet. But who would have thought that after evening self-study, Jong Fan would actually stop me at the classroom door about yesterday's incident? Lee Man cried all night long without even closing her eyes. I'm being generous by not holding it against you, but you absolutely must apologize to Lee Man for this. After all, she's a girl with thin skin. She still cares about her dignity. Hearing this, I was both furious and amused. She cares about dignity. Then why did she record your dirty little secret and send it to me? Jong Fan rolled his eyes at me and said with a pout, she's just being a bit girlish. Why bother arguing with her about these things? In any case, you need to go apologize to her, and what's more, you'll have to give up your guaranteed admission spot to her. As long as you do this, I'll compensate you for any remaining losses. Don't worry, give up the guaranteed admission spot to Lee Man. Hearing this, I suddenly understood. No wonder they didn't give me much trouble today. They were waiting for me here all along. In my previous life, I gave up the guaranteed admission spot, thinking I'd let Jong Fan have it, but he turned around and gave it to Lee Man instead. This time, no matter what, I won't sacrifice my future for anyone else again. At this thought, I took advantage of Jong Fan's momentary distraction and dashed outside, even stomping hard on his foot as I ran. Where did you wholesale your confidence from? Who cares about your compensation? 5. After that, I continued with my studies as usual. All along, my academic performance has been quite outstanding. Everyone knew that my guaranteed admission spot was already a done deal. However, when the admission list was released, my name wasn't on it. Filled with anxiety, I rushed to ask my homeroom teacher what had happened. Seeing my frantic expression, my homeroom teacher's face was instead full of confusion. Didn't you give this up yourself on the system? I was wondering why you suddenly changed your mind. Suppressing my panic, I quickly pulled out my phone and logged back into the school's official website. On the page, several large characters stood out prominently. Confirm abandonment. My hands began to tremble uncontrollably. Someone must be pulling strings behind my back. I checked the recommendation list again, and this time, I saw Lee Man's name on it. In an instant, everything became crystal clear. I found Lee Man on the playground, passionately kissing Jong Fan at that moment. I quickly strode forward and forcefully yanked Lee Man down. Jong Fan was startled by this sudden turn of events. When he saw it was me, a fleeting look of triumph flashed across his face. Juku, you still claim you don't care about me. Before he could finish speaking, I mercilessly cut him off. Lee Man, did you tamper with the recommendation list? Lee Man trembled slightly and replied timidly, Cuckoo, didn't you promise Brother Fan to voluntarily give up your recommendation spot? I noticed you've been studying so hard lately. You must think the recommended school isn't good enough, so you want to take the college entrance exam and aim for university, eh? Right, I took deep breaths, trying hard to calm myself down. Gritting my teeth, I asked word by word, "So, Jong-fan, Lee-man, you altered my recommendation confirmation information, didn't you?" Seeing that the truth was already exposed, Jong-fan no longer bothered to hide it. "So what if we did? Xiaoman is different from you. She wants to continue her studies. Anyway, I'll marry you as soon as you graduate. With me by your side, what does it matter whether you study or not?" Upon hearing his shameless remarks, the fury in my heart completely erupted. And I cursed loudly, "Who would want to marry a rotten cucumber like you? Who do you think you are?" I couldn't be bothered to waste any more words on him and immediately called the police. 6. Upon learning that I had called the police, Jong-fan became frantic, jumping around anxiously. "Zhuku, is this really necessary? I've already agreed to marry you. What more do you want?" Beside them, Lee-man's eyes were red from crying as she sobbed, "Cuckoo. This guaranteed admission spot is really too important for me. I promise I'll never compete with you for brother fan again. Okay, just let me off this once." Fortunately, the police arrived extremely quickly, preventing them from continuing their antics any further. I handed over the recording of our recent conversation to the police. Upon hearing the playback of the recording, Jong-fan and Lee-man turned pale, with irrefutable evidence. They had nothing to argue and simply lowered their heads in silence. The police conducted a thorough interrogation before taking both of them away in accordance with the law. The school revoked Lee-man's recommendation quota after learning the truth of the matter. Since the final confirmation time of the system had already passed, I still couldn't obtain the recommendation qualification. At this point, there were only 4 months left before the college entrance examination. At this moment, I had no choice but to grit my teeth and study desperately. You don't have to grow toward the sun, but I must turn the tables against the wind. After countless days and nights of hard work and relentless effort, I finally reaped my rewards. The moment I received my college admission letter, the emotions that had been pent up inside me for so long burst forth uncontrollably, like floodwaters breaching a dam. In my previous life, I foolishly gave up my guaranteed admission spot. Didn't even take the college entrance exam, and rushed off to work instead. Back then, I was naive and ignorant, wholeheartedly believing that Jong-fan's promises to me would be my lifelong support. Jong-fan did indeed marry me as promised, and at the time, I was moved to tears, thinking I was the happiest person in the world. When it came to the premarital health check, however, he made every excuse to avoid it, refusing no matter how much I tried to persuade him. "Honey, the health check is crucial for you, for me, and for our future children. This is about taking responsibility for our future. Why are you so unwilling?" At that moment, my heart was filled with confusion and bewilderment as I tried to reason with him. "You just don't want to trust me. If that's the case, then let's call off this wedding." He irrationally threw out these words and turned to leave. To appease his inexplicable emotions, I foolishly agreed to skip the premarital health checkup. I didn't learn the truth until I was 60 years old. He had known all along that he had ALS, which was why he stubbornly refused to get a physical exam. His approach to me from the very beginning was an elaborate scheme. He needed a free caretaker who could meticulously tend to his daily needs and shoulder life's burdens for him. He needs someone who is willing to endure hardship and toil for the woman he loves, and my ignorant, love-struck mind happened to be the perfect candidate in his eyes. I gently stroked the admission letter in my hand, its tangible texture making me truly feel that in this life, my fate would indeed be completely different from the last. I carefully put away the admission letter and then took a taxi to the graduate gathering. 7. As soon as I stepped into the hotel, I saw Jong-fan and Lee-man smiling broadly and toasting everyone around. Anyone who didn't know better would have thought it was their wedding banquet. I gently nudged my roommate sitting next to me with my elbow. "What kind of show are they putting on?" My roommate slightly leaned in and whispered close to my ear. "I heard someone from our school got accepted into University A. Everyone's guessing it must be them. Seeing them just annoys me. I really don't get why University A would even want people like that. It's totally disillusioned me about prestigious schools." The class monitor also chimed in. "College entrance exams only filter out the academically weak, not the morally bankrupt. Just let it go. By the way, where did you get into? All my classmates knew about Lee Man tampering with my recommendation information, so they didn't dare to casually ask how my exams went. If I hadn't done well, wouldn't that be deliberately poking at my sore spot? Since the class monitor spoke up, everyone perked up their ears, eagerly waiting for my response, just as I was about to open my mouth. Someone loudly shouted, "Chairman Xiao is here." Chairman Xiao is the head of Shunpeng Group, a prominent figure in the business world. At the same time, he is a shareholder of our high school and holds considerable influence in school affairs. Of course, he is also my father. Everyone stood up to greet him, yet he ignored the surrounding small talk and kept looking around restlessly. The anxiety revealed in his eyes seemed to indicate he was urgently searching for someone. I knew deep down he was looking for me, so I quickly waved my hand vigorously at him. Father's eyes instantly lit up, his steps quickened, and he came straight to sit beside me in the empty seat. As the saying goes, the nearer we are to home, the more timid we feel. My father sat beside me. Momentarily at a loss, unsure where to begin, he simply picked up his chopsticks in silence and kept serving me dishes. Onlookers couldn't help but exchange glances. Their eyes filled with confusion and curiosity, silently wondering when I had become so familiar with Chairman Xiao. Sure enough, some grew so envious their eyes turned red. Father had to leave temporarily to answer a phone call because something came up. As soon as he walked away, Lee Man said sarcastically, "I knew it. How could anyone not be interested in Fan Ge? Turns out she's aiming higher. Look at his age, old enough to be her father. She really isn't picky." Although Zhong Fan didn't speak, the serious anger on his face clearly showed his agreement with Lee Man's words. Listening to their words, I found it amusing but couldn't be bothered to argue with them. Anyway, father would be back soon, and he would naturally explain my relationship with him to everyone. There was no need for me to waste my breath here. Before long, father returned after finishing his phone call. Just like before, he sat down and continued to silently serve me dishes, completely ignoring everyone else. At this moment, the principal cleared his throat and said loudly, "Students, one outstanding student from our grade has been admitted to University A. This is a tremendous honor for our school since its founding. Let us all give a warm round of applause to congratulate this exceptional student." However, not a single student present applauded. Everyone remained seated in silence, creating an awkward atmosphere for a moment. Only Zhong Fan and Lee Man were clapping vigorously, their applause standing out conspicuously in the otherwise quiet space. Zhong Fan continued clapping while shouting at the top of his voice, "Bravo, bravo, this student is truly outstanding." The principal, standing on the stage and feeling embarrassed, frowned and raised his voice to say, "What's going on with everyone? Where's the applause?" Under the principal's urging, some half-hearted applause finally scattered through the room. Zhong Fan, however, continued to enthusiastically cheer. "Principal, this student is truly the first in our school's history. Doesn't the school have any special rewards?" Lee Man quickly chimed in from the side. "I heard the neighboring school gives 100,000 yuan to each student admitted to University A. Shouldn't our school offer at least that much?" The principal had initially felt somewhat comforted by the positive response, but upon hearing Lee Man mention the 100,000 yuan reward, his face instantly turned ashen. Better to just shut up. The principal had no choice but to force a smile and laugh it off. "Don't worry, students. The bonus will definitely be given. It's just that the exact amount needs to be discussed and finalized in subsequent school meetings. Please remain patient." Seeing the principal in an awkward position, my father stepped in to help him out. "There's no need to worry. We'll see how much funding the school can allocate. If it's not enough, our board will make sure to cover the difference for this student. Rest assured, the amount will definitely not be less than 100,000. Upon hearing this, the surrounding students showed no particular reaction, remaining completely calm. On the contrary, Zhong Fan and Lee Man were laughing so hard they could barely stand straight. Seeing how happily they were laughing, the principal felt gratified and spoke up again. "Classmates, I'm taking this opportunity to give you all one final lesson. on the journey of life, we should be happy to cheer and applaud for others' successes, just like classmates Zhongfan and Li Man here. When Zhuku got admitted to University A, they were happier than anyone else. This kind of magnanimity is something we should all learn from. Upon hearing this, Zhongfan and Li Man were stunned and exclaimed in unison, "Isn't it Zhongfan, Li Man, who got into University A?" No, the smiles didn't disappear from Zhongfan and Li Man's faces, they just transferred to their classmates' faces. This time, all the classmates in the room erupted with joy. Well, turns out it's Zhuku who got into University A. I knew it. Those two never looked like University A material. Exactly, I didn't even feel like clapping earlier. Hearing this thunderous applause, the principal was moved to tears. His final lesson was not wasted after all. At that moment, Father slowly stood up, scanned the room with his gaze, and then cleared his throat. Everyone waited quietly for what would come next. Taking this opportunity, "I'd like to explain something to everyone. 9. Zhuku is my long-lost child, and we only reunited recently. Over these years, I sincerely thank all the school leaders, teachers, and classmates for their care and support towards Zhuku. Today, it's my treat. Everyone can order whatever they like." The classmates were so shocked they couldn't speak, taking a long moment to process the news. When they finally did, they were overjoyed for me. Of course, while some rejoiced, others grieved. I was waiting at the hotel entrance for my father to pick me up from the garage. Zhongfan ran over and demanded, "You're Chairman Xiao's daughter. How could you not tell me something this important?" I just found it amusing. "Why should I tell you? Would it have made any difference? Would you have left Li Man and immediately fallen in love with me? Your love is too cheap. It means nothing to me." Zhongfan, unwilling to accept this, grabbed my hand. "Didn't you always like me? Why did you suddenly stop?" I tried my hardest to shake off his hand, but couldn't break free. Suddenly, a figure rushed over and started beating Zhongfan. It took me a while to recognize the person. It was Xiao Qingyu. Xiao Qingyu was the child who had been switched with me by the delivery nurse back then. He was a boy, and during his school entrance physical examination at age 6, it was discovered that he wasn't biologically related to the Xiao family. Precisely because he was a boy, everyone assumed the swapped Xiao family child was also a boy, which added considerable difficulty to the Xiao family's ongoing search for their biological child. The Xiao family's attitude towards Xiao Qingyu had always been ambivalent. On one hand, they felt he was living a privileged life in their child's place, making them reluctant to treat him kindly. On the other hand, I also feel that he's just an innocent child. Ever since I returned to the Xiao family, Xiao Qingyu has been very well behaved and hasn't caused me any trouble. So, considering he hasn't stirred up any trouble, everyone tacitly allows him to stay in the Xiao family. Now that he's willing to stand up for me against Zhongfan, I'm genuinely a bit surprised. 10. Not long after returning to the Xiao family, Zhongfan came knocking at my door. "Keek, it was all my fault before. I let you down. This time, it's my turn to pursue you properly. I'll treat you as well as you once treated me." Seeing his bruised face utter these words made me nauseous. Just as I was about to curse him out, his phone ringtone interrupted me. Li Man's voice came through the phone. "Brother Fan, my stomach hurts so much. I'm at the hospital now. Can you come and stay with me?" Zhongfan hesitated greatly. I waved my hand impatiently, signaling him to hurry to the hospital. I didn't want to see him for another moment. Before leaving, Zhongfan still couldn't resist saying, "Keek, wait for me at home. I'll take you to the movies as soon as I get back from the hospital." I didn't respond, simply reaching out to slam the door shut. Immediately after, I instructed Butler Liu, "From now on, don't let Zhongfan and Li Man in. I don't want to see them again. Understand?" After giving the order, I idly started scrolling through my social media feed. While scrolling, I noticed someone had tagged me. Curious, I clicked to see. It was Li Man. The photo shows Li Man's pale and slender hand with a needle inserted into it. Her hand rests lightly on Zhongfan's hand, while Zhongfan appears exhausted, having fallen asleep beside the hospital bed. The photo was accompanied by a caption, "Had to go to the hospital because of menstrual cramps, and he insisted on staying by my side." I rolled my eyes dismissively and was about to block her when I heard a mocking chuckle from beside me. I looked up and saw Xiao Qingyu leaning closer, a hint of playful amusement on his face. "Sis, do you know this Li man?" "Yeah, she's my classmate." Hearing this, Xiao Qingyu immediately perked up and started chattering away to me. "I have a buddy who's notoriously known in our circle as a playboy. He's got countless women around him, and this Li man is just one of them. Every time my buddy finishes with a woman, he pours chili oil into the condom, just to make sure no woman secretly takes his sperm to get pregnant. That's why Li man ended up in the hospital this time. But she actually posted on social media claiming it was due to menstrual cramps." "Tell me, isn't that hilarious?" I was speechless for a moment. "That's quite something to laugh about." 11. I didn't see Zhongfan all summer, but when I got to college, I ran into Li man. The moment she saw me, she started yelling, "Zhuku, you persistent woman, how dare you seduce my boyfriend? Zhongfan keeps drunkenly calling your name." With that, she lunged at me, trying to attack me. With a swift movement, I easily dodged it. Immediately after, it was my turn to charge forward and deliver a fierce beating. What does it matter to me if he calls my name when he's drunk? If there's a next time, it won't be as simple as me stepping in. Over the years, I've consistently exercised, so my physical condition is quite good. After this fight, I emerged completely unscathed. I gave a slight wave, and the bodyguard nearby immediately understood, quickly stepping forward to escort Li man out. Not long after, news broke that Zhongfan and Li man had gotten married. Apparently because Li man was pregnant, Zhongfan even sent me an invitation. I merely glanced at it casually before tossing it into the trash. 12. Later on, I successfully secured admission to graduate school without taking the entrance exam. After completing my master's degree, I went abroad to pursue a Ph.D. Upon returning to China, with my family's support, I founded a company. I met Zhongfan again in a coffee shop, where he was sitting in a wheelchair at the time. I was surprised in my heart, never expecting that his illness would manifest earlier in this lifetime than in the previous one. His gaze fell upon me, his eyes slightly reddened, lips trembling faintly, as if countless words were swirling at the tip of his tongue. Yet in the end, he only managed to utter with difficulty, "Long time no see, President Xu." I nodded slightly and responded calmly, "Long time no see, Zhongfan." At that moment, a figure flashed by and began mercilessly scolding and hitting Zhongfan, running around everywhere. "Aren't you? Just when I went to get my hair done, you disappeared, only to come out here flirting with others. Take a good look at yourself. Who would want a cripple like you? Only someone as kind-hearted as me would stick by your side." Zhongfan hugged his head with both hands, trembling slightly, not daring to make a sound. This voice sounds so familiar. It seems like Li man originally wore an angry expression, but when her gaze fell on me, it instantly switched to a beaming smile. "Oh tilde, it's President Xu. I thought it was someone else. I often see you on TV. You're truly the epitome of a successful female entrepreneur. You've maintained yourself so well. Looking just like you did back in high school." Li man has changed so much. Her figure has filled out slightly, and her speech has become much more worldly and polished. My gaze inadvertently fell on a 6 or 7-year-old boy standing quietly beside her, well-behaved and adorable. "Is this your child?" "Yes, son." Quickly greet President Xu. Although Zhongfan and Li man seemed a bit scatterbrained, their child looked quite well-behaved, so I casually mentioned, "The child should also get a health checkup. If he's inherited his father's condition, early detection means early prevention." But Li man waved her hand dismissively, still wearing a smile on her face. "Don't worry, my child has nothing to do with Zhongfan. He's perfectly healthy." I was startled inwardly, but kept my composure outwardly. I glanced casually at Zhongfan, only to see him with his head lowered, his hands gripping the wheelchair armrests tightly, veins slightly protruding on the back of his hands. In any case, this matter has nothing to do with me anymore. I stood up, ready to leave. Li man remained as enthusiastic as ever, smiling as she said to me, "Come visit me whenever you're free." 13. Stepping out of the coffee shop, fresh air greeted my face. Xiao Qingyu had already parked the car steadily by the roadside. Seeing me emerge, he quickly got out of the car and approached with a beaming smile, opening the rear door for me. After I got in the car and settled down, he didn't rush to start the engine. Instead, he turned his head curiously toward the coffee shop, his face brimming with gossipy intrigue. "Sis, that Lee man is your classmate, right? Let me tell you, back when you first started college, she was already pregnant. Do you know who the father was? It was a wealthy man in his 50s. After getting pregnant, she didn't tell anyone. Instead, she secretly found a place to give birth, planning to later confront the rich man for child support. But when she finally went to find him, the wealthy man had suddenly passed away from illness not long before. By then, his entire estate had already been inherited by his wife. How could the wealthy man's wife possibly acknowledge Lee man's child? She had Lee man and her child thrown out without mercy. As for Xiao Qingyu knowing such detailed inside information, I've long since stopped being surprised. He doesn't have many other hobbies in daily life, but he's particularly fond of gossip. In our circle, he's practically a walking encyclopedia. At this moment, he's looking at me with eager anticipation. His expression like that of an elementary school student waiting for the teacher's praise. I rolled my eyes helplessly and asked irritably, "And then, Lee man married Zhong Fan with the child. Would he be willing?" Xiao Qingyu had been waiting for me to say this. He raised his voice excitedly and said, "Zhong Fan doesn't even know that child isn't his." Seeing my puzzled expression, Xiao Qingyu grew even more pleased with herself and continued animatedly, "After being kicked out by the wealthy wife, Lee man immediately sought out Zhong Fan. She tearfully told Zhong Fan that she loved him too much and feared he wouldn't agree to having a child, which was why she hadn't told him about the pregnancy and secretly found a place to give birth. But eventually, the truth couldn't be hidden. The child grew up looking less and less like Zhong Fan, and not even much like Lee man herself. Zhong Fan grew suspicious and secretly took a paternity test, only to discover the child wasn't his at all. He was furious and wanted to divorce Lee man immediately, but she refused stubbornly, making it impossible to end the marriage. As a result, they fought every day, turning their home into a battlefield. After one particularly heated argument, Zhong Fan suddenly collapsed unconscious. A hospital examination revealed he had ALS, leaving him permanently unable to stand again. I silently wondered to myself, could it be that his emotional fluctuations were too intense, causing his condition to flare up prematurely? Later, the next news I heard about the two of them was in a local news report. The report mentioned that a paralyzed man in a certain residential area, unable to endure his wife's relentless abuse day and night, ultimately chose to end his life by burning charcoal. All three members of their family passed away due to carbon monoxide poisoning. I shook my head, feeling a mix of emotions. Moments later, I gathered my thoughts and refocused on the task at hand. That's all for the first story. Don't go away, the next story is even more exciting. I deliberately turned off my phone's password-free payment and entered the wrong payment password, locking my phone. In the end, I wasn't anxious, but my sister-in-law was. In my previous life, my sister-in-law used the password-free payment on my phone to treat the whole family to a meal at a world-class Michelin-starred restaurant, spending nearly $1 million in one go. I was left with a debt of $1 million, unable to repay it. When I confronted her for an explanation, she played innocent and cried foul to the whole family. "Sister-in-law, you're going too far. Did I do something wrong by treating everyone? Who knows what you used that $1 million for? Maybe you took out online loans behind my brother's back." She sobbed uncontrollably, while I was scolded by the entire family. Even my husband suspects I took out loans to support a lover outside. I was kicked out of my home, evading debt collectors everywhere. Under immense pressure, I was forced to jump off a building. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day my sister-in-law treated us to dinner. This time, I happily followed my sister-in-law out the door, finally got the civil service position. Tomorrow, I'll treat our whole family to a big meal at that restaurant. Didn't my sister-in-law He Fangfang already say this once? Wait, didn't I jump off a building? How can I still hear her talking? Could it be that I've been reborn? Come on, you restaurant, a world-class Michelin-starred place. Aren't any of you interested? My sister-in-law kept pressing for answers. But not a single family member spoke. The whole family knew they couldn't afford to dine at Restaurant U, especially my mother-in-law, who had lived in poverty her entire life. She'd even haggle over the price of a single scallion. How could she dare step foot in Restaurant U? Yet my sister-in-law mocked the whole family for being stingy. Look at how shabby you all are. I've got myself an iron rice bowl now, set for life. This meal's on me. At these words, everyone got excited. Even my 6-year-old son cheered along. My sister-in-law beamed with satisfaction, her vanity thoroughly gratified. But only I remained silent. In my previous life, my sister-in-law treated the whole family to a meal at a world-class Michelin-starred restaurant, where a single dinner cost nearly $1 million. When it was time to pay, she pretended to borrow my phone and used my password-free payment to settle the bill. Only after returning home did I discover that all my online banking accounts had been automatically enrolled in credit loans, with the total amount borrowed exactly matching the cost of that meal. On the surface, it was her treating us to dinner, but behind the scenes, I was left with $1 million in debt. Debt collectors kept coming to my door, and I genuinely couldn't repay the debts. When I asked her for money, she turned the tables on me. Sis-in-law, isn't this going too far? I treated you to a meal, and now I'm the one at fault. Just because I took you to a Michelin-starred restaurant doesn't mean you can assume I'm loaded and make me the scapegoat. Who knows what you needed that $1 million for? Could it be you secretly took out online loans behind my brother's back? My husband and mother-in-law immediately sided with my sister-in-law, Lin Wanwan. You took out online loans behind my back. What did you need so much money for? Were you secretly seeing some young man? If you don't explain yourself today, don't even think about staying in this house any longer. Without any evidence, I was like a mute tasting bitter herbs, unable to voice my suffering. Later, creditors frequently came to our door demanding repayment, and I was directly driven out of the house by my husband and mother-in-law. Get out. The He family has no place for a shameless daughter-in-law like you, homeless and pursued by creditors everywhere. I eventually succumbed to depression and jumped from a building. Even at my funeral, my sister-in-law and husband insisted that I had taken out millions in online loans to support a younger lover, leaving my parents to bear the lifelong stigma of raising a daughter who borrowed money for a man. They lived in misery for half their lives and died heartbroken. Sis-in-law, why are you pretending to be so deep? Don't you want to eat Michelin-starred food? Stop pretending. My sister-in-law pulled me back to reality from the painful memories of my past life. I gritted my teeth secretly. This time around, you, He Fang, will pay back everything you owe me, too. Seeing me keep a straight face without speaking, my husband immediately became unhappy. Are you deaf? I'm talking to you. Fang is treating us. Who are you pulling that long face for? What bad luck. I looked at this family before me and put on a flawless smile. Who wouldn't want to eat Michelin-starred food? It's just that the price is a bit too steep. Sister-in-law must be worried our family can't afford it. My sister-in-law burst into laughter at my expense. I'm telling you, sis-in-law, you really should get out more and see the world. As someone with a stable government job, there's nothing I can't afford. Don't worry. It's on me. My husband chimed in as well. Did you hear that? My sister's treating. What do you mean can't afford? Look at how stingy you're being. I showered her with compliments. Our Fang is the most promising one in the family, getting a government job at such a young age, and now she's taking the whole family out to see the world. The He family wouldn't be the same without you. Early the next morning, the whole family dressed up carefully for this meal, especially the younger sister-in-law, who wore what looked like an expensive dress and had her makeup done meticulously. I guess she plans to take plenty of photos when we visit Restaurant U today. Only I was dressed in shabby sportswear, barefaced, ready to go out. Hey, wait a minute, sister-in-law, are you really going dressed like that? My sister-in-law grabbed me, looking me up and down with disdainful eyes, as if I were some kind of scavenger. What's wrong? I pretended not to understand anything. Sis, that's Restaurant U, a world-class Michelin-starred restaurant where even the waitstaff wear luxury brands. Even if you don't have anything too expensive, you should at least dress formally, right? Otherwise, people will look down on you. It's so embarrassing. I shrugged my shoulders. But I don't have any formal clothes. My husband curled his lip. What were you doing earlier? If you don't have anything to wear, just don't go. Showing up like that would only embarrass me. That's right. You're not even worthy of going to such a high-end restaurant. You'd just embarrass everyone. My mother-in-law seized the opportunity to chime in. This way, we can also save some money by ordering one less meal for Fang Fang. 3. So you're ashamed of me? Fine. I won't go then. I pretended to be angry and turned around to head straight back to my room. My sister-in-law panicked and quickly tried to smooth things over. No, it's fine if there are no clothes, it doesn't matter. Oh, Fang Fang, you're just too proper. If she doesn't want to go, then so be it. It's not like we're short of her. Let's just go eat as a family. My mother-in-law still wanted me to stay. Alright, I'm the outsider. Is that it? Then you all eat as a family. I won't join. I turned to go back to my room, while my sister-in-law held me back and tried to reason with my mother-in-law. Mom, how can we have a family meal without sister-in-law? Let's all calm down a bit. Sister-in-law, I didn't mean anything by what I said earlier. Please don't take it to heart. Come on, I've booked a luxury car for everyone. My sister-in-law tried to persuade one person after another, and in the end, everyone, thinking about the luxurious meal she was treating us to, reluctantly agreed to let me tag along. I walked at the back, and my sister-in-law, with a flattering smile, eagerly helped me carry my bag. The luxury car was already waiting, and as soon as we got in, my sister-in-law asked to borrow my phone. Sis, can I borrow your phone? What's wrong? Where's your phone? My phone is out of battery. Let me use yours to check the navigation. The plot from my previous life is happening again. In my previous life, she used my phone to make a contactless payment of 500 yuan for a luxury car service in exactly the same way. How could I make the same mistake a second time? Why did my phone run out of battery as soon as I stepped out? Fang Fang, you're so careless. I pretended to search for my phone in my bag. But under my sister-in-law's expectant gaze, I pulled out a power bank instead. But it's okay, I brought a power bank. I took the power bank out of my bag and handed it to her. Fang Fang, charge it quickly, otherwise, you won't be able to pay for the ride later. My sister-in-law's face instantly turned ashen. Sister-in-law, you're really thoughtful. After leaving that sarcastic remark, she never spoke another word to me. I simply pretended to be asleep and didn't respond no matter how many times she called me. When we got off the car, my sister-in-law reluctantly paid the 500 yuan fare with a sour expression. My mother-in-law didn't forget to mock me. Oh my, it's rare to ride in such an expensive car. But what a pity there's a scavenger sitting in it. Exactly, look at what you're wearing. It's like you're a beggar. Even the driver's look just now was full of disdain. Even my 6-year-old son chimed in, Mom, you dress so tackily. It's really embarrassing to ride in such a luxurious car. I crossed my arms in front of my chest, pulling a long face. Have you said enough? I've been putting up with you all for a long time. As if you're all so rich yourselves, especially you. He'd away. Do you think I don't know that suit of yours was borrowed just for the occasion? For, my husband was so angry that he was practically fuming. You wretched woman, I'm going to teach you a lesson today. My husband was about to hit me when my sister-in-law quickly stepped in to break up the fight. Brother, we're right in front of restaurant you. If you hit someone, will we even be able to go in? My husband cursed under his breath but had no choice but to stop. My sister-in-law led everyone into restaurant you, and as soon as they entered, the whole family was stunned by the luxurious decor. This place is way too fancy. Fang Fang, how much is this going to cost? The waiter nearby enthusiastically explained to the mother-in-law, Madam, our minimum spending here is 888 yuan per person. That expensive, so for 5 of us, we'd be spending over 100,000. Isn't this just daylight robbery? Let's go. We're not eating here. When I first entered, the waiter looked at my plain clothes with disdain, but now he was frowning at my mother-in-law. I'm sorry, but this is a top-tier Michelin restaurant. If you can't afford to eat here, please leave as soon as possible. I need to attend to other guests. My sister-in-law's face instantly turned pale and then flushed with embarrassment. Mom, stop talking. This is so embarrassing. I already said I'm treating. We can afford it. let's eat, the waiter snorted. Then please go to the pre-meal dessert area to order first. As soon as they arrived at the pre-meal dessert area, the whole family went crazy at the sight of the dazzling array of high-end desserts. Piling them onto their plates non-stop, in no time, everyone's plate was piled up like a small mountain. My sister-in-law smiled helplessly. Look at you all, acting like you've never seen anything before. How are you going to eat the main course after having so many desserts? After saying that, she glanced at me, as if to say, why not order something more expensive? Someone else is paying anyway. And I glanced back at her. The best is yet to come. My sister-in-law kept adding more to her plate. But I didn't take anything. Sister-in-law, aren't you having any dessert? It's too expensive. So I'll pass. I'm waiting for the main course to save you some money. I'll wait for you outside first. Seeing that I was about to leave, my sister-in-law immediately called out to me, hey, sis, since you're already here, have something to eat too. My sister-in-law handed me a plate and pulled me inside. Sis, can I borrow your phone for a moment? I frowned. Borrow again? Didn't I just give you the power bank? 5. Oh, sister-in-law, you don't know, new customers here can buy discount coupons for just 1 cent. Such a fancy place. You've probably never been here before, right? Can you help me buy a discount coupon? I looked at the plates of desserts piled high for the whole family and readily took out my phone to hand it to her. Here, go ahead and use it. My sister-in-law, seeing her plan succeed, immediately took my phone. Sis, you can only buy this when checking out. I'll hold on to your phone for now. You go pick out some food. The 5 of them nearly cleared out all the desserts in the dessert section. Sis, you all can go ahead and take your seats. I'll handle the checkout. After sending me away, my sister-in-law happily went to the dessert area to check out. While I wasn't paying attention, she discreetly took out my phone. Scan here. As soon as the cashier finished scanning, my sister-in-law gleefully picked up the tray and prepared to leave, but the next moment, she was stopped by the cashier. Please wait a moment. The payment wasn't successful. Please enter your payment password. At this point, my sister-in-law was completely confused. Payment password. Isn't this supposed to be a password-free payment? No, please enter your payment password. Sister-in-law's sweat immediately trickled down from her forehead. Then wait a moment. Sister-in-law quickly ran over to me. Sister-in-law, that new customer discount coupon requires password-free payment. Why haven't you activated it? Why don't you set it up right now? I pretended not to understand. What's this about password-free payment? I've never used it. How about I go with you to the checkout counter? As soon as my sister-in-law heard that I wanted to go with her, she immediately panicked. No, you just sit here, set up password-free payment and just give me your phone. Oh, alright then, how do I set it up? My sister-in-law took my phone and went through the setup process, with the final step being to enter the password for confirmation. All set, just enter your password to confirm. I took the phone and casually entered a password. The phone immediately popped up a notification. Incorrect password, 2 attempts remaining. Pretending to be puzzled, I said, it's always been this password. Why isn't it working? Before my sister-in-law could react, I quickly entered random passwords twice more. The phone immediately displayed. Maximum password attempts reached. Your account has been locked and no payments can be made. 6. Before my sister-in-law could even process what happened, my account was completely locked. Not bad. She made a contactless payment, and even if she wanted to use password payment, it wouldn't work anymore. Seeing the account was locked, she immediately exploded and started cursing at me. Are you fucking stupid? I can't believe this. You can't even enter the password right. I scratched my head, pretending to be embarrassed. Oops, it's been too long since I last used it. Fang. Don't be mad, your brother is also a new user. Maybe you can borrow his again. Before she could respond, I immediately called my husband over. My husband looked at me with disdain. I told you we shouldn't bring her. She doesn't even know how to set up password-free payments, just embarrassing me. It's alright, little sister. I'm a new user too. Let me help you with it. The cashier started urging us. And without another word, my husband pulled my sister-in-law toward the checkout counter. I'm a new user too. How do I buy discount coupons? I'll buy them. The cashier laughed mockingly upon hearing this. Sir, this is a top-tier Michelin restaurant, not some ordinary eatery in a shopping mall. How could we possibly have discount coupons? No, didn't you just mention discount coupons earlier? My husband had thought this would please his sister-in-law, but instead, he ended up being ridiculed by the cashier. My sister-in-law couldn't save face and immediately flew into a rage. Brother, shut up, aren't you annoying? Did I ask you to come over? Looks like none of you want to eat anymore. Fine, I don't want any of this. My sister-in-law threw down the desserts everyone had just chosen and was about to leave, but the next second, she was stopped by 2 security guards. I'm sorry, but you'll have to pay for whatever you've taken on your tray, otherwise, we can't sell it to anyone else. The people waiting in line behind were already growing impatient. Hey, isn't your restaurant supposed to be members only? How come they're letting in every Tom, Dick, and Harry? If you can't afford it, don't embarrass yourself by coming out. You look so shabby. I can't even afford desserts anymore. How am I supposed to eat the main course later? Live on air, mocking voices rose one after another, making her sister-in-law lose face, who then shouted angrily, "What's all the noise about? Who said we can't afford it?" I'm just worried that eating too many desserts might ruin my appetite for the Australian lobster later. I'll take all of these. Check out. That will be 58,888 yuan in total. My sister-in-law immediately backed down when she heard that. How much? Did you miscalculate? How could these few things possibly cost over 50,000? The people behind immediately started another round of sarcastic remarks. Have you never been to Restaurant U before? It's perfectly normal for this many desserts to cost over 50,000. Can't even afford desserts anymore. Freeloading, aren't you? Waiters, call the police already. Don't delay our bill payment. What bad luck. My sister-in-law's vanity immediately soared again. She forced herself to stay calm and pulled out her bank card. Who says I can't afford it? It's just over 50,000. Right, swipe the card. But the moment the bank card was swiped, I clearly saw the look of pain on her face. 7. After returning to our seats, the whole family started devouring their food ravenously. My sister-in-law looked utterly disgusted, wrinkling her nose in disdain. Haven't you people ever eaten before? How embarrassing. My husband and mother-in-law kept their heads down eating, paying no attention to anything else. My sister-in-law was caught in a dilemma, unable to eat anything, silently figuring out what to do. At that moment, my husband suggested ordering Australian lobster. I heard the Australian lobster at Restaurant U is their signature dish. We must order it. The sister-in-law broke out in a cold sweat as she looked at the price of the Australian lobster. We've eaten so many desserts, we're practically full already. Maybe we should skip the main course. I heard their ingredients aren't very fresh. Really? How could ingredients at such a high-end restaurant not be fresh? Yeah, I heard someone got hospitalized just 2 days ago from eating here. Next time I'll take you to another Michelin-starred restaurant. Mother-in-law got scared when she heard that. Then let's not eat here, we'll have dessert and go home. Seeing that our table hadn't ordered any main courses and was about to leave, the restaurant manager quickly came over to ask, I noticed your table hasn't ordered anything. Was the menu not to your liking? The sister-in-law blushed and remained silent, yet despite all precautions. It's hardest to guard against thieves within the household. The mother-in-law directly exposed her daughter-in-law. How dare you even ask? Your ingredients aren't fresh. Just 2 days ago someone was hospitalized from eating here. Who would dare eat at your place? The manager was furious and immediately pulled out the ingredient procurement list. Pure rumor. All these ingredients were airlifted fresh from Australia today. Our U restaurant is a world-class Michelin-starred establishment. How could there possibly be any stale ingredients? If even one item isn't fresh today, I'll comp the entire dining room. The sister-in-law, who had just narrowly escaped disaster, now felt like she was being roasted over flames again. She hadn't figured out how to say it yet. But her husband and mother-in-law had already started ordering. Oh, really? That's great. Then bring us 10 Australian lobsters, 10 king crabs, 5 servings of bird's nest, foie gras, wagyu beef, and this. We want everything. Her sister-in-law was terrified and quickly stopped them. That's way too much. We can't finish it all. Forget the Australian lobsters and king crabs. Do you have fried rice? Just bring us some fried rice." The restaurant manager shook his head. "I'm sorry, but once the order is placed, it can't be cancelled. Besides, the portions aren't large, and these dishes probably won't be enough for all of you." Upon hearing this, my husband immediately added a bottle of red wine. "Then bring us another bottle of red wine, the finest one you have." My sister-in-law was on the verge of tears, so I stepped forward and answered for her. "Stop ordering. Fang Fang can't afford all this. She doesn't have the money." 8. As soon as I said this, everyone immediately erupted in chaos. "Fang Fang, your sister-in-law must be joking. Right, you can definitely afford it. Fang Fang, didn't you say yesterday that you have an iron rice bowl and money doesn't matter?" My sister-in-law lowered her head and remained silent. Seeing this, the restaurant manager immediately changed his attitude. "Can't afford it yet dare to come to you restaurant? I've seen plenty of freeloaders like you." My husband and mother-in-law couldn't save face and immediately started blaming my sister-in-law. "Fang Fang, you're not really broke, are you? If you're broke, why pretend to be rich and embarrass us like this? Yeah, if you can't afford it, don't bring us here." How many dirty looks have I gotten today? Even my 6-year-old son was sulking. "Auntie lied. Teacher says people who lie are bad kids." The restaurant manager saw this and wanted to call the police. Every year, so many people come here trying to dine and dash, but not a single one has succeeded. "Someone, call the police immediately." Upon hearing this, the sister-in-law immediately panicked. Driven by vanity, she gritted her teeth and continued pretending. "Wait a minute. Who said we can't afford it? I just meant we ordered too much meat and should get some vegetables too. What, are we not allowed to order? Is this how you treat customers at your restaurant? Such snobbery. I'm going to report you." The restaurant manager, worried about being reported, quickly apologized to the sister-in-law. "It was my mistake for not recognizing your status. Ms. Please feel free to order anything else you'd like. To make up for it, we'll give you a 10% discount on today's meal." Pretending to no longer be angry, the sister-in-law gave the manager a haughty glare. "That's more like it. Now scram. I'll call you if I need anything." The restaurant manager tactfully withdrew. Hearing they could get a 10% discount, my husband and mother-in-law grew even more excited. 10% off. "Let's order more dishes. This one, and this one. Order them all." My sister-in-law couldn't stop her, her face expressionless, as if all her strength had been drained. I saw her whole body trembling, her eyes panicked, as if searching for something everywhere. 9. After a full table of dishes was served, the whole family began devouring the food ravenously. Only my sister-in-law didn't take a single bite, as if waiting for an opportunity. Finally, after everyone had eaten and drunk their fill, she stood up and said she was going to the restroom, but her eyes were clearly fixed on the direction of the emergency exit. I immediately understood her intention. She was planning to run. What a clever scheme. After ordering so much, she was ready to leave us here to foot the bill while she slipped away. How could I let her have her way? So, I also stood up and called out to her, "Fang Fang, I need to use the restroom too. Let's go together." I followed closely behind her, making my sister-in-law increasingly impatient. "Sis, do you need me to follow you even to the bathroom? Can't you take care of yourself?" I put on a pitiful expression. "Fang Fang, your sister-in-law hasn't seen much of the world. If I don't follow you, I won't find the bathroom. Please bear with me." My sister-in-law cursed under her breath and reluctantly headed toward the restroom, trying to figure out how to shake me off along the way. When we reached the door, she suddenly said, "Sis, I forgot to bring toilet paper. Go back and get me a couple of sheets." But I didn't move an inch and directly called the waiter over, asking her to bring some tissues. My sister-in-law was so angry her nose twisted sideways, while I remained all smiles. "Fang Fang, didn't you teach me yourself? If I need anything, just call the waiter." My sister-in-law kept looking for chances to shake me off, but unfortunately I stuck too close to her, and she never succeeded. My sister-in-law had no choice but to follow me back to our seats, just as the restaurant manager came over with the bill. "How was your meal? We'll be closing soon, so please settle the bill first." The whole family turned their eyes toward my sister-in-law in unison. Understanding the situation, The restaurant manager handed the bill directly to her. She took the bill, glanced at it, and immediately turned pale, nearly losing her balance. It was at this moment that she had a sudden inspiration. She lay directly on the ground and shouted, "My stomach hurts. What did you feed me at this shady restaurant? Mom, brother, it hurts so much." Both her mother-in-law and husband began to panic. "I told you there was something wrong with the ingredients at this restaurant. You've made my daughter sick. You're going to take responsibility. How dare you ask for payment? If anything happens to my sister, your entire restaurant couldn't afford to compensate." "Ah, help, it hurts so much. Mom, brother, take me to the hospital now." The scene was chaotic. My husband carried his sister on his shoulder ready to leave, while the restaurant manager blocked their path. "You haven't paid the bill yet. I'm in this state, and you still have the nerve to charge me for the meal. Just wait. After I'm done with the checkup, I'll be demanding compensation from you." But at that moment, the sound of an ambulance echoed outside the door. 10. My sister-in-law visibly trembled when she heard the ambulance siren. "Who called the ambulance?" she whispered softly, leaning on my husband's back. "Fang Fang, I called it for you. Seeing how much pain you're in, I thought it would be good to have the ambulance here to treat you right away." I held up my phone, pretending to be concerned about her. My sister-in-law immediately lost her composure, got off my husband's back, and flew into a rage. "Are you an idiot? Who told you to call an ambulance? Do you have nothing better to do? Damn it, having a sister-in-law like you is such bad luck." I pretended to be clueless. "Fang Fang, why are you talking to me like that? I'm doing this for your own good. Once you get checked, you'll know if there's a problem or not." The restaurant manager also snapped back to reality and quickly called the doctor in to check. My sister-in-law firmly refused, and the restaurant manager frowned deeply. You said you were feeling unwell. But now that the doctor is here, you refuse to be examined. Are you trying to scam us?" My sister-in-law had no choice but to let the doctor examine her. The doctor examined her on the spot and told the restaurant, "This lady's body is fine." Upon hearing this, the sister-in-law started cursing loudly. "Who said there's no problem? My stomach hurts so much I can't even stand up. You unethical doctors, helping the restaurant scam money. Damn it, I'm going to sue you." The restaurant manager also put away his smile. "I think you're the one trying to scam money, aren't you? Isn't this just an attempt to skip the bill? Do you really need to put on such a big show? I've seen plenty of customers trying to get a free meal. Who are you accusing of skipping the bill? The ingredients in your restaurant are clearly problematic, and the ambulance's equipment is too basic. What could it possibly detect? How about this? You settle the bill first, and then I'll accompany you to the hospital for a thorough checkup. If it really is our fault, I'll refund you in full and give you 10 times the compensation." My sister-in-law was at a loss for words. I sneered coldly. How could I let go of this perfect opportunity to get back at her? So, I chimed in, "Fang Fang, I think this restaurant is still reputable. Look, none of us have had any issues, right? Why don't you just settle the bill for now? If there really is a problem, they can always refund you later." Husband and mother-in-law, seeing the crowd growing larger, felt embarrassed and chimed in as well. "Yes, Fang Fang, with so many people watching, just settle the bill for now. Fang Fang, let's see how you try to escape this time." 11. The sister-in-law, hearing that both her husband and mother-in-law were siding with outsiders, flew into a rage on the spot and started yelling at them. "You country bumpkins, never had anything good to eat, I'm sick. And all you care about is making me pay the bill. Afraid I won't treat you, so you're forcing me to pay on purpose. Is that it? Let me tell you, I'm not paying today. It's not that I can't afford it, but you're going too far. Are you even my own brother, my own mother? Whoever ordered these things should pay for them themselves." My sister-in-law looked at me smugly, but I had already anticipated her move and just shrugged at her. "I didn't order anything, and I didn't take a single bite. It was all ordered by my husband and mom." The restaurant manager directly handed the bill to my mother-in-law. "That'll be $988,000 in total. Please proceed with the payment." The number nearly scared her mother-in-law out of her wits, even between a mother and her own daughter. At this moment, everyone had their own hidden agendas and thoughts. The mother-in-law directly confronted her daughter-in-law. "Fang Fang, What do you mean by this? Are you trying to scam your own mother? I already said we shouldn't come here to eat, but you insisted that since you got the government job, you could afford it. That's why we came. Now you don't want to pay. That's right. He fang. You'd even cheat your own brother and mother, trying to weasel out of it. At this point, the sister-in-law only cared about getting herself out of the situation, completely disregarding her own mother and brother. So what if I did? I never told you to order so much. You all acted like you'd never eaten before. How is that my fault? I don't have the money anyway. With those words, the true colors of the He family were fully revealed. My mother-in-law went up and slapped my sister-in-law right away. You little bitch, how could I have given birth to a debt collector like you? Even your own mother isn't spared. Are you even human? My husband also grabbed hold of my sister-in-law, and the three of them instantly started brawling. I sat on the sidelines munching sunflower seeds and enjoying the show. What sheer delight! The crowd of onlookers grew larger, so I took out my phone and started a live stream. The number of viewers in the live stream quickly surpassed 10,000, with comments flooding in to criticize the sister-in-law's family. This family is something else. Daring to dine at your restaurant without money, don't they know this place has top-tier security? If it were any other relationship, fine. But the highlight is a mother, son, and daughter beating each other up. They actually ordered so many Australian lobsters, even wealthy people wouldn't dare order like this. Who gave them the courage? The three of them became increasingly absorbed in their fight, smashing all the plates and glasses on the table to the ground. But they forgot. This was Restaurant U, where even the tableware was custom-made and limited edition, costing no less than the meal itself. 12. The restaurant manager, scowling, called security, who finally managed to pull the three apart. Stop fighting. This isn't a marketplace. The meal plus compensation for the dishes comes to 1.5 million. Pay up now. Watching my past life enemies, who drove me to my death, now tearing into each other like dogs, filled me with secret satisfaction. Just as I expected, when they heard the amount 1.5 million, my sister-in-law, mother-in-law, and husband just stared at each other in silence. In the end, my mother-in-law and husband pinned all the blame on my sister-in-law alone. Fang, this was all your idea. You should be the one to pay for all this. After all, it was you who suggested treating everyone. You're the ones who ordered all this stuff. Why should I be the only one to pay? I don't have the money. Deal with it however you want. Even though they're family, when personal interests are threatened, familial bonds vanish without a trace. You promised to treat us, whether you have money or not. Didn't you just pass the civil service exam? If you can't pay, just ask your boss for help. That's right. Didn't you just take the exam for that department? This meal is so expensive. There must be something wrong. You guys should come investigate them. Her sister-in-law immediately perked up again. That's right. Let me tell you, I'm responsible for regulatory work in the department. Your food prices are outrageously high. There must be shady dealings. If you don't let me leave today, I'll definitely come back tomorrow to investigate you. The restaurant manager sneered coldly. Do you know why our U restaurant is the finest Michelin-starred establishment? He took out his phone and dialed a number. Hello, boss. There's an employee named He Fang in your department, right? Yes, that's her. Today she came here and ate a meal worth 1.5 million without paying, and even threatened to come inspect us tomorrow. The sister-in-law's phone rang immediately. He Fang, I heard you've been eating for free at your restaurant. Is that true? On the other end of the phone, her sister-in-law forced a smile. Boss, please let me explain. It's all a misunderstanding, using the company's name to swindle others. He Fang, you're fired. Before my sister-in-law could speak, the other party hung up the phone. Unfortunately, my sister-in-law had just passed the civil service exam, but she lost this secure job before even working a single day. Serves you right. Who told you to be so full of schemes to harm others? 13. At the impasse, the restaurant manager still insisted on calling the police. At this moment, I stepped forward. Don't call the police. Scan this phone instead. I took out a phone and showed the payment QR code to the restaurant manager. The restaurant manager quickly scanned the code, and with a beep, the phone confirmed the password-free payment was successful. Since the money's been paid, I won't argue with you anymore, get lost now. We were kicked out of restaurant just 2 hours ago. My sister-in-law was glowing with happiness, but now she looks as miserable as a drowned rat. My sister-in-law hasn't snapped out of it yet. Sis, did you pay the money? I nodded. Yes, I paid. The whole family immediately changed their attitude. Wanwan, it really was you who paid. How did you suddenly become so rich? Thanks to you, otherwise we'd all be in the police station today. But I handed the phone in my hand to my sister-in-law. Oh, you've misunderstood. It was me who paid using Fangfang's phone. Didn't Fangfang's phone have password-free payment enabled? Turns out, when the three of them were wrestling earlier, my sister-in-law's phone fell out. I picked it up and saw that she had enabled password-free payment herself. So, in this lifetime, let her also taste the burden of millions in debt. My sister-in-law charged at me like a madwoman. What? You used my password-free payment? You bitch, you're truly wicked. I'll beat you to death. But the next second, my husband grabbed her and even slapped her across the face. Fang, don't push your luck. If it weren't for Wanwan, we'd all be in jail today. You have password-free payment. Why didn't you use it earlier to settle the bill? You made us suffer so many dirty looks today. I shook my head with a cold laugh. These people truly worship whoever feeds them. They still haven't realized that Fangfang's unpaid loans will have to be repaid by her mother-in-law and husband as close relatives. Debt collection calls kept coming one after another on my sister-in-law's phone. Hello, I don't have money, stop calling me. I'll call the police if you keep bothering me. Debt collectors came knocking on the door every day, threatening to smash up the house if the money wasn't repaid. My sister-in-law was forced to borrow money from her mother-in-law and husband, but the moment they heard she needed a loan, they refused to lend her even a single cent. Fang, it was you who wanted to dine at Michelin-starred restaurants. You can't expect us to pay off your debts. Her mother-in-law, unable to bear the disturbance any longer and disregarding their mother-daughter bond, directly kicked her out of the house. My sister-in-law knelt before me, begging me to take her in. But how could that possibly happen? In my previous life, I endured hardships. In this life, it's your turn to suffer. Later, my sister-in-law was hunted down by debt collectors everywhere, and under immense pressure, she was forced to jump off a building. After that, the debt collectors came after my mother-in-law and husband. My mother-in-law died of depression, and I divorced my husband outright. Finally, my husband was sued by creditors for failing to repay his debts, became a deadbeat, and ended up living on the streets for the rest of his life. The villains got what they deserved, and I never used password-free payments again. In this lifetime, it's finally my turn to enjoy happiness.